Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. Today, we're talking about limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs affect almost all of us. A limiting belief is a thought, a belief, a mindset that you think is a universal truth, but it's not. And what it does is it holds you back from chasing your dreams and goals, from taking that big trip, from quitting your job, from asking for a raise, for starting a business, starting a YouTube channel. We all have limiting beliefs, and they start with a failure or a hurt because limiting beliefs live in our subconscious mind. One of the gifts that we have in our brain is two pieces. The logical mind, which most species don't have. It separates us from the animal kingdom, is that logical mind. But the biggest, most powerful part of our brain is our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind's greatest job, its biggest job, its most important role is to protect and serve us. So right now, my subconscious mind is controlling my central nervous system, my breathing, my heart rate, my digestion, my blood flow, all these things I don't have to worry about. And it has stored literally millions of pieces of information throughout my life. It's all stored back there in the subconscious. It loves repetition. This is why if you've driven a car, you know how to start a car with a key. Nowadays, most cars have a button start. But if you know how to start a car with a key, and I took you out of a car for 30 years and then brought you back and gave you a key, you know exactly what to do because your subconscious has stored that information. The subconscious stores information that can be pulled from that file room by senses: taste, smell, touch, feel, hearing, sight, of course. This is why when you smell certain foods, it might take you back to a certain time in your life. For example, when I smell fresh cut grass, I go back to when I used to play Little League Baseball or when I first learned how to play golf. When I smell buttered popcorn, like most of you, I think about being younger and going to movies. When I was younger, movies were much more popular to actually go to a theater. I remember seeing Rocky 3 in a theater, having popcorn, and the entire theater cheering for Rocky as if we were actually at a boxing match. Our subconscious mind stores all this information, but its job is also to protect us. So when we have a failure or a hurt, this is where our limiting beliefs start to kick in. When we have a failure or hurt, our subconscious says, we don't want to go through that again. A simple example would be the first time you ever touched a hot frying pan or a fire. Your subconscious mind said, that was bad. We don't want to do that anymore. It stores that information so you don't have to remember every time you approach a pan, hey, is this a bad thing or a good thing? Your subconscious says, no, this is bad. It hurts us. The challenge with that gift is it also protects us from what it views as a failure. Sometimes we don't want it to go there. Sometimes it works against us when it's actually just trying to help us. For example, I know someone that went through a very bad marriage, abusive. And now what they tell themselves is a limiting belief stored by their subconscious mind. What she tells herself is, I'm not marriage material. What is that? That's a limiting belief that was stored there after a failure, after hurt, after pain. And your subconscious mind just wants to protect you. It's doing its job. But in this case, instead of saying, don't touch a hot frying pan, don't walk into traffic, it's saying, don't get in a relationship because that could be very painful. We don't want to go through that again. This is why people don't ask for a raise. If they asked for a raise at one point and they got shot down by their boss and their boss was a bad person and told them all the reasons why they didn't deserve a raise, your subconscious says, that was terrible. I don't ever want to go through that again. Let's not ask for a raise. So we create these limiting beliefs that we believe that get stored in our subconscious to protect us. If it's actually protecting us, like not touching a hot frying pan, not dropping a toaster into a bathtub, that's actually a truth. That's a belief. But a limiting belief is, I'll never be relationship material. I'll never be marriage material. I'll never be able to start a YouTube channel. I'll never be able to edit video. I had a podcast for many years called the Limitless Podcast, but for a long time, limiting beliefs kept me from starting that podcast. Limiting beliefs like, I'll never be able to master the technology. I don't know how to edit audio. I don't know how to post audio and get an RSS feed and get a host site. These are all limiting beliefs. So we're going to talk about rewiring your limiting beliefs because almost all of us have them. We believe them. Our subconscious stores them and it's just trying to help us. But our subconscious, in addition to being the greatest supercomputer on the planet, it also is very malleable, very soft, very flexible like clay. And these limiting beliefs can be rewired. Our beliefs and thought process, our very mindset. This is mental conditioning at its finest. We can rewire those beliefs to work for us. And if you will follow this technique, this tool that I used almost 20 years ago, I was taught this technique I'm going to teach you by one of my mentors named Randy Ferguson. And this absolutely changed my life. It changed my belief system, my mindset, and I still use it today because limiting beliefs never go away. Your subconscious isn't going away. It just wants to protect you. So I still get limiting beliefs and I still have to work on rewiring. And if you master this simple process, the simple formula for rewiring your limiting beliefs, it will work like magic. When I look back at my limiting beliefs notebook, which I'm going to ask you to create, I look back at some of the things I'm going to share with you today of beliefs I had just a few years ago that have been completely rewired. So limiting beliefs have one job. Our subconscious thinks is to protect us, but what they actually do is limit us. And how do they limit us? We live a watered down life. We avoid risk. We avoid doing things that might bring us super satisfaction. We avoid doing things that might even increase our chances of failure. We avoid doing things that might cause failure and hurt because we're limited. The belief says it's going to hurt us, but those very things are what life is about. Getting out there and making mistakes and learning from them. Anyone who started a business, anyone who's been in a relationship has made a mistake and hopefully learned from them and got better. And by rewiring your limiting beliefs, you'll avoid that watered down life. You'll be able to take more risk. Most importantly, you'll be able to rewire this belief process to work for you instead of against you, because that's what your subconscious mind really wants. It wants to work for you. It is almost enslaved to you. And even simple things like, I never get good parking spots. I never get close parking spots. These create limiting beliefs. And your subconscious will actually shift what you see, because what you want to see can make you blind. For example, if you are looking for a certain type of car, let's say you're looking for a Volkswagen, you see them everywhere. Were they there the whole time? Of course, but your subconscious mind has changed what you see, and it can give you tunnel vision or wider vision. And we want a wider vision of what is truly true in our lives and what we can accomplish. So let's talk about how we discover our limiting beliefs. They hide behind our doubts. They hide behind our fears. They hide behind our negative self-talk and excuses. They live in our procrastination. And they love our somedays. Someday I'll travel to Europe. Someday I'll start my own business. Someday I'll write that book. These lead to limiting beliefs. This is where limiting beliefs hide in our doubts. Why? If I write a book, no one would read it. I can't go hike the Pacific Crest Trail. I don't have that kind of time or money. I wish I could buy my own house, but I'll never be able to afford it. These are limiting beliefs. And they're hidden behind our doubts, our fears, our excuses. So be very mindful and aware when you have an excuse, procrastination, doubts, fears, some days. You're building a wall of protection that your subconscious is encouraging you to build, but we can rewire that subconscious. That wiring is made to be rewired, and we're going to start today. Because your subconscious also likes to be on autopilot. This is why if you've ever driven a stick shift car, at one point you got so good at shifting that car that you didn't have to look down anymore. Your mind took over. We want to do that with our belief system, with our mindset, with our encouraging ourselves, with our self-talk. So we eliminate doubts, excuses. We eliminate the fears. We step into risk. We step into what we want to accomplish in life, because choosing to be great is simply that. It's a choice, choosing to do what we want to do and take a risk. So let's rewire these limiting beliefs. This is a very simple exercise. What you're going to need is a notebook. Any notebook will do, but it needs to be handwritten. This is not a tablet exercise. This is not an exercise on your phone. This is an exercise to hit pause and go through it. If you follow these steps, I promise you, inevitably, you will rewire your limiting beliefs and create a new belief system and start taking steps on what you truly want to accomplish, because your subconscious mind wants to work for you, not against you. So the first thing we need to do is discover a limiting belief. Again, they hide in our doubts, our fears. What is it that you really want that you're not taking action on, and why? Or what is an overarching belief you have in your life that's leading to action, certain types of inaction, not taking action, or certain types of action that you don't want to take? Discover one of your limiting beliefs. This may take you a few minutes. What's an excuse you've had? What is a doubt that you've had? An excuse you've made in your mind, some self-talk that was negative. What's a someday? Someday I'll take a sabbatical and go on that big trip. Someday I'll go see family that I have that live in another country. Someday I'll write my memoir. Someday, I've always wanted to write a fiction book. Someday. Ask yourself, why am I not writing that? Well, I don't have the time. That's a limiting belief. We can start there. I don't know how to write a book. I don't know how to publish a book. I don't know how to edit a book. All limiting beliefs. Maybe you've had a dream to start a business. I don't know where to start. There's a limiting belief. So let's discover a limiting belief. And then what we're going to do is we're going to write it with our hands, not typing. The subconscious has a direct connection when we hold the pen, when we scribe. So let's hold a pen and let's scribe, and let's start a limiting beliefs notebook. Get an old journal, an old notebook. This could be a 79-cent notebook from Walmart. This could be a more expensive journal. Whatever it is, this could be a blank piece of paper. The key is to just get started. Discover a limiting belief. That's step one. Step two is to write it out in your least powerful handwriting. I'll give you an example. My least powerful handwriting is cursive. I don't like it. I don't like to write it. It looks weak to me. I've never liked it. It's my weakest style of writing. I'm not good at it. That might be a limiting belief. So I've written a limiting belief that I had at one point here in cursive. What is your least powerful handwriting? Could be all caps, could be all lowercase, could be writing with your left hand. Could be, if you're left-handed, writing with your right hand. Discover a limiting belief. And number two, write it out in your least powerful handwriting. Now, this is an exercise we don't need to spend a ton of time on. We don't need to meditate on it. Once you discover limiting belief, let's go through it, because once you get this process rolling, you're going to discover limiting beliefs in your life all over the place for the next 50 years. And you're going to be able to rewire them very, very quickly. And you're going to look back at this day when you started this exercise as a turning point in your life, when you started to take more risks, when you started to live more boldly with more courage and do the things you want to do. And maybe you're already doing those things. Kudos to you. Awesome. But there's always a new level, and we all have, most of us have limiting beliefs. That's why you're here. So I've written it out in cursive. The next step, number three, is to ask yourself, is this a universal or absolute truth? True for all people, all walks of life? Or is it simply a truth? For example, I'll never play in the National Hockey League is not a limiting belief. That's just a truth. Okay, that's not holding me back. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm not going to play in the NHL. I'm not going to play in the NBA. That's not a limiting belief. This right here, I will never be wealthy. Is this an absolute truth? Is this true all over the world? Absolutely true for all people, all walks of life? No. This is a limiting belief. So that's the first question we ask. Is this an absolute truth? If no, it's a limiting belief. Step number 4 is take your pen, cross it out. You could put a line through it, whatever it is. Look at that limiting belief and tell yourself, this is a limiting belief. I'm crossing it out. We just told our subconscious, this isn't true. This is a limiting belief, and we've crossed it out. We're going to cross it out in our lives. The next step, step number 5, is to powerfully rewrite our opposite belief, our new belief. We may not believe it yet. That's okay. We're working through this process. We may not believe it yet. We're going to write the powerful opposite in our most powerful handwriting. And it needs to be true to us. We may not fully believe it, but it needs to be true to who we are. For example, the opposite of this is, I will always be wealthy. That doesn't resonate with me. What would resonate with me? This step may take you a little time. So you're going to leave space in your notebook to rewrite your new belief that you want in your life, that's true to you in your words, in your most powerful handwriting. For me, my most powerful handwriting is printing in all caps. So I'm going to share with you what I wrote so many years ago, over 10 years ago. This was one of my limiting beliefs. I will never be wealthy. It came from my upbringing. Money doesn't grow on trees. I didn't know any wealthy people. I pictured wealthy people as people living on a hill who are pretentious and bad and treated people poorly. I will never be wealthy. Okay, so we have discovered a limiting belief. We've written in our least powerful handwriting. We crossed it off, telling our subconscious this isn't true. We asked ourselves, is this a universal truth, absolute truth for all people in all walks of life? No, crossed it off. Now we've rewritten it in our most powerful handwriting. My most powerful handwriting is all caps, printed. I will never be wealthy. My most powerful opposite. I need to redefine what wealth means to me. My wealthy is massive abundance, time, freedom, and flexibility, surrounded by people who love me, being a blessing to others. I am, it's important to put I am statements in your new belief. I am more than capable of creating wealth and abundance. See how this is my opposite, my most powerful opposite, my handwriting, my words. Maybe I don't believe it all right now. So this is the step we're going to take. We've crossed out our limiting belief. We've rewritten the new belief that we want in our words. The next 3 steps is when we put this in concrete. First thing you're going to do is read it to yourself every morning and every night. When you wake up, when you go to bed. This is not foo-foo. This is not crazy. This is not outer space talk. This is real, and this will work. This actually worked for me, and I can't believe one of my limiting beliefs is I will never be wealthy. And it led me to create a new definition of wealth in my life that I now fully believe and am living. So read it to yourself every day, morning and night. The next step is to read it out loud to yourself every morning and every night. This is going to take you 10 seconds at night, 10 seconds in the morning. Read it out loud. And finally, to solidify this, read it to somebody else once a day for a week. Read it to yourself for a couple weeks. Read it out loud to yourself for a couple weeks. And when you're ready, read it to someone else every day for a week. And you will solidify a new belief system in your mind, and your subconscious, while protecting you, will start to work for you instead of against you. And why I asked you to create a limiting beliefs notebook is you're going to start to see and realize limiting beliefs all over in your life. You're going to be aware of them, and you're going to be able to write them in your notebook, write them in your least powerful handwriting. Tell yourself, this is not a universal truth. This is a limiting belief. Cross it out, and then rewrite your new powerful belief in your words, in your most powerful handwriting, which tells your subconscious, this is power. This is our new belief. You're going to read it to yourself every day. Read it out loud, and then read it to somebody else. And when you look back on this exercise and see how it's changed your life, how simple it is, but like any great tool, like the pen, it doesn't work unless you actually use it. Like a hammer, very powerful, but it doesn't work unless you actually use it. If you use this tool and keep it in your toolbox the rest of your life, you will rewire your limiting beliefs. I mean, you will win the mental game. My friends, if this was powerful to you, if you've enjoyed it, if it works for you, if you know somebody could use this, please share. Please subscribe to our channel so we can reach more people. And please like, so the algorithm will pick us up and choose us so we can reach more people and help them with their mental game, their mental conditioning, and help them live their best life possible. I hope you go out and have a great week. Go out and encourage somebody. Do this exercise. Rewire the mind and rewire those limiting beliefs.